What I love so much about graphic design is the putting together of the elements to communicate a message. Tunji from Ceasar Graphics, welcome to my weekly design training where I share free design tips with designers. I have a design I received from a designer during the week. I'm going to share what is working and what is not working in the design. And I'm going to use this to teach you guys my process on how I achieve successful design projects. Without any further ado, let's go. I want to specially appreciate the designer that sent this design to my team for us to review. So if you want your design to feature in any of our upcoming design review training, send it to, first you need to be a member of the Ceasar Empowerment Telegram group. Then send your design to any of the admin, but don't send it to Ceasar Graphics. Only send it to any of the admin. It will surely get to me. Okay, good. All right, so let's go straight to what is working here. Yeah, so yeah, the only thing I think I'll say is working here is the bold title. All right, I like the fact that the title is big. Okay, but that is not enough to make your design project look successful. All right. Graphic design is the communication of message through the juxtaposition of words and images. All right. Now, images and type, they work together. Type is like the language, it's like the voice that speaks to the people that explain what the artwork is talking about. Image is what draws the people that quickly tell them the story behind the design. Images are very important in graphic design. All right, when you're working on design project, images are very, very important. They are attention grabbers. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, so that means I can't do any design without the use of image. No, there are times where you can work on design project without using images. All right, but you know, in a case where you're trying to draw people's attention to want to, you want them to stay and read the information in your project, images are very important where, doing that. And there are times where you don't really need pictures to illustrate what the artwork is talking about. There are times where type is enough for you to illustrate what the artwork is talking about. But you need to be a professional where, doing this. Now, the other thing I noticed as in the project is the part of moving the content, all right, the information and the project too close to each other. You see, white space is very important in graphic design. The use of white space is to help the eye movement of the viewers or the readers rest when looking at the content in your design. Now, I'm saying this here because if you look at the excuse me, I'm trying to change my brush size here. If you look at the way the designer play with the content here, you notice everything is too close, and this is not nice at all. There should be space, all right, between the content in the project. All right, space is very important. I know the designer may say, hey, but I use space here. This space here is good, but the space between the information you have in your project is more important than this. All right, it's more important than this. There's something called proximity among the principles of design. Proximity is the grouping of your content. When your project lacks proximity, it's going to make the project look dull and boring. All right, so proximity is very important, the grouping of your content. And I noticed that is what this designer did not do right here. All right, okay, so I can see that the designer used an illustration here, but the illustration is not really visible. The illustration needs to be visible. If you're not going to use illustration, don't use illustration. Don't never play with illustration in your project like the way you did here. All right, because when you make the visibility of an element very low in your project, what you are trying to say to the viewers is that illustration is not, or that element is just there to decorate the project and not to pass any message. Because there's also the part of value among the element of design. So when you don't make an element really visible in your project, the information you are trying to pass to the viewers is you're trying to say, hey, this element is not important. I just decided to use it to decorate my project. All right. So the way you play with the placing of the elements in your project is very important. So we inform the people through the way we place the element in our design. So when you don't place it correctly, you are going to change the message in your project. All right. So I'm going to quickly show you guys my version and my process on how I was able to make it look the way I think is best. We get calls a lot from folks who are looking forward to going into design but can't afford to pay for design school. Because of this, we decided to start a foundation where we can be a blessing to these people. Now we're looking at getting gadgets in order to meet our goals. And this is where we need you to support us with your donation. If you have any amount you think you can support us with, kindly make use of the seller link on the screen. Every amount that comes from you will be highly appreciated. Thank you. All right, so let's go back to the tutorial. All right. So yeah, I got this image from the internet after after searching for the meaning of salvation. Salvation simply means rescue. All right. There are so many illustrations you can use to depict this. Do you understand? But the reason why I decided to use this is because this is easier and faster for people to understand what the message on the illustration is talking about. When you see two people holding hands, like the way we have it on this illustration, I'm sure you can easily define what is going on there. All right. So that's the idea behind getting that illustration that you're looking at on my screen. So when I was putting together the elements, I was trying to simplify it in a way that it's going to be easier for the viewers to see. All right. So I started with using a narrow display character. I'm talking of font here now, because the space where the space where we have the illustration and the left side of the frame is too small for the word salvation to take. So I decided to use a narrow display character to maintain space, because your title need to be bold, which is what I noticed the designer did well in his version here. So you also, it's very good for you to make your title bold and visible. Okay, so at first I used the script character for the theme, and I found out that the theme of the artwork is too long, and script character mostly doesn't work well when you make them small and you use them for lengthy sentence. All right, like you use it on a sentence, it is not always visible. So I was not really feeling it, but like I always say, I'm a type of designer that whenever I notice anything is not working for me in my project, I don't allow that to waste my time. I continued with the other part of the project. Now the reason why I decided to put the information in their separate columns is because I really want to give room for space. So if you want to achieve space in your project, learn to place your content, learn to put them in columns. Columns is part of how you maintain space in your project. Okay, so I noticed that the way I place the illustration is taking space, so I had to change it a bit because I want to put the name of the guest minister. So, and I know, like I said, that space is very important. So I'm a type of designer that doesn't joke with it. Space, you need to give room for space whenever you're working on your project. All right. So I decided to place the name of the guest speaker where you're looking at it there because I want people to see and know that there's a guest speaker coming for the event. So I decided to place it where it will be easier for people to see the name. Now, see, guys, the layout is your world. All right. You have the control to place the content the way you believe is best for the project. All right. And that's why you are the creative director. Okay, you are the engineer for the project. So you should always learn to place the content in a way that you believe is best for the project and not the way you think it should be. Like the way people always have this, okay, because I've seen somebody do this somewhere, so I have to copy the person. No, there are times when you don't need to do that, that you have to, use your style to put together the elements. So I had to change the character because the salvation, the font I use for the salvation is not really strong. So I decided to, tweak it to make it bold. All right. And I noticed the artwork is looking dull. So I had to, use a gradient, color effect to add life to it to make the project pop. And I'm sure you guys can agree with me that that simple move really changed the look of the project. All right. So I repeated the same gradient effect in order to give room for unity in the project by clipping it to the word salvation. All right. In order to also, make the project pop. Now, this is not to feel like, hey, I'm a professional designer or to make somebody feel depressed. No, what I'm trying to teach you guys here is for you to know that, see, it's not until when you add everything to the project that your project is going to look successful. Simple project passes message fast and they draw attention than making the page full. All right. And I believe somebody learned something from this. No, when I was critiquing the before version, I started with the use of illustration. All right. And that is what inspired this illustration I have here. I really want to create a project that quickly tell the story that I want people to know about the project. And also I mentioned that the part of space where you need to give room for proximity in your project, and that is what I did here. So here I made, I put this the information in this project in 3 groups. So the group number 1 is this here. Group number 2 is this, which is proximity. So when I say group, I'm actually talking of proximity. And here is the 3rd group. All right. And yeah, so whenever you're working on design project, always have it in mind that you need to put your content in their separate group. I'm sure you learned from this tutorial. Now, if you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my tutorials. Now, if there's anything you want to share with me, drop it in the comment section of this video. If you know anyone that you believe need to watch this tutorial, kindly share the link with them. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.